Hello everybody, welcome to the Cafe of Knowledge. Now we are on week 7, level 7. So y'all are doing a great job. We got to 7 weeks already. So now we are at week 7, level 7. So let's get right on into it. Thank you all for tuning in. Like I said, please click the like and please click the subscribe. Thank you so much, and let's get started. Okay, you remember last week we ordered the truck for our inventory. We did all that. Please write everything down that I'm saying, and we always talk about please save all your paperwork that we are doing. You can always refer back to that paperwork no matter what, okay? So please do that. Save all your paperwork so you don't be lost. I would like for you to be able to refer back to it, or you can refer back to the video if you don't want to write things down. You can always go back to different weeks that we have so you can get a better understanding if it's something that you can't understand. Okay, so but now that we are on week 7, level 7, like last week, I moved a little swiftly because by now you already know what I'm talking about when I say transfer things over to the accounts receivable, or when I say transfer things over to your inventory account sheet, or when I say transfer the invoice onto the accounts receivable. Okay, so that you will have a record of what your store have. Okay, so that's the purpose of taking your invoice and transferring it over to your accounts receivable. This tells you what you have in your store at all times. It tells you, it keeps track of everything you have in your store. Rather you keep track with it on paper, or you keep track with it on a computer. Either way, accounts receivable, when you put in what everything the truck has bought you for that week or for that 2 weeks, whenever you do your inventory is a cutoff time that you count the whole store, and after you count the whole store, you begin a new week. Okay, so that's the purpose of accounts receivable. Accounts receivable tells you everything you have received in that store from any vendor. Okay, so make sure you keep track and write all them things down, or like I said, you can always rewind or whatever, screenshot, however that you prefer to do. Okay, now your register, let's start with it, okay? Your register should already be set up to where every time you ring up something, it records it. And that's just what a register do. Once you get your register plugged in and it's working, and every time you ring up an item, or anytime you scan an item, it doesn't matter if you're scanning it. You have that type of register where you can scan, and then the price pops up on the register, on the screen, or whatever. It's calculating. It's calculating what is being sold out of that store. Okay? And it's sending it to the computer that you have input everything in. Okay? And if you have a register but you working in a store that doesn't have a computer that generates what you have in your store already, and things like that, then that's when you go to your paperwork and you check your paper out. Okay, so either way it go, but if you have a register in your store, which I know every store has a register, because how else would you know how to ring up things. Like, you can't ring up anything. You can't receive money, and you can't give change back or anything like that if you don't have a register. So we all know that you're going to have a register somewhere. Okay? And when you calculate the item, when you scan the item, or you ring up the item by hand or whatever, that register is calculating everything that you sell. Okay? It's calculating everything that you sell. Every time you scan, every time you ring up, that register is calculating. Okay? Now, when a store closes, right, at the end of the day, let's say the store closes at 9 o'clock, and when the store closes at 9 o'clock, you go over to the register, and then it's a button that says, end of the day report, and then it has an end of the week report. It has about 3 buttons on it. It's end of the day report, end of the week report, end of the month report. Okay? So if you look at a register have all type of buttons. It's just like a computer, where a computer have all the keyboards, and then on the side it have the captions and all that. A register has a lot of keys to it. Okay? And it will have a spot where it's end of the day report, or end of the week report, or end of the month report. Some companies and businesses have their computers set up like that already. You know, if you don't have it set up like that, and you own your own business, and you want to get your register set up like that, usually it's in the manual book. When you bought the register, it will tell you how to do that. And if you no longer have that manual that goes with that register, then you just call somebody, a computer technician or something like that, and they'll come out and they can set that up for you. But that button, those 3 buttons are very, very important when it comes down to inventory. It's an end of the day button, it's an end of a week button, it's the end of the month button. Okay? Now, at the end of the week, you know, when it's time to count inventory, you would hit the end of the week button, because you want to see everything that was sold that week on that register. Okay? And if you got 2, 3 registers, you know, it doesn't matter. You'll have one of those registers. Say if you are working, your store has 3 registers. One of those registers is going to be the main register. That's the register that will calculate everything from the other registers automatically. Okay, you don't have to go to this register and hit end of the day report. You don't have to go to that register and hit end of the day report. You don't have to go to the 3rd register and hit end of the day report. And if the company is not set up where one register will calculate everything for you when you hit those 3 buttons, then you will have to go to each register and pull up each report. Okay? So now, when you're getting ready to do inventory at the end of the week, you will hit that end of the week button, and that register is going to start printing out a receipt of everything you sold that week. Okay? Say if you close at 9 o'clock, and you're doing an end of the day report. That's the end of each day. When after the store closes, each night, or whenever that store closes, you will hit end of the day report. It'll calculate everything that was sold that day, and how much of it was sold that day. And it will tell you how much money you should have in that register that day. Okay? Now, that's how you know what you should have in that register. So if that register at the end of the day, when you close the store and you hit end of the day report, because every store always most of the store, many stores, let's put it that way, many stores, I say about 90% of stores always run an end of the day report. Okay, after they close down or shut down, or if that store is a 24-hour store, they have a breaking point in there where they do run an end of the day report, and it might be at midnight. This is if the store operates 24 hours a day. They will pick their own cutoff point, and normally that cutoff point is about 12 midnight or about 2 a.m. in the morning. Between 12 midnight and 2 a.m. in the morning is when they have a cutoff point where they do their end of the day report, okay? But let's just say that this store here that we're working at, it closes at 9 o'clock. So at 9 o'clock, when the doors are closed and it's no more customers to ring up or anything, then you will hit end of the day report. And that end of the day report will calculate. The register will be steady going. You know, the register will be keep calculating until it's finished calculating everything you sold in that store for that day. And it'll also tell you what you sold in that store that day. And it will also tell you how much money you made that day, and that how much money should be in the register. It will also tell you how much credit cards transactions you made for that day. So it will separate how much money you made in credit cards and how much money you made in cash. And the money that you made in cash should be in that register. And we'll go on with that after week 8. Okay? So we only got one more week to go. This is week 7, level 7. We got to do week 8, level 8. And then you have completed your inventory count process. Then you have an inventory tracking process, and you learn a little bit more about the register and how to track inventory and how to monitor inventory, okay, and how to keep inventory under control. Okay, so we are almost finished with the counting, understanding how to count inventory. Okay, so now, with that being said, the inventory, once that register tells you what you sold, how much money you should have in that register, how much you sold in credit cards, then you take that sheet and then you go to the back, and then that's when you know how much is sold. But that register, once you do your end of the day report, not only is it telling you what you sold that day, how much money you made that day, that register, which is the main register, it will all automatically take and push that stuff to your main computer in the office or wherever your main computer is at. It'll push everything to the computer and tell the computer what you sold, how much money you should have in the store, how much credit card transaction you did. It's gonna, while it's doing the end of the day report and it's bringing up all those register receipts, it's calculating, it's also pushing that information from the register to the computer, back computer. Okay, and that's how companies have it set up. Okay, and like I said, if you're a small business and you don't have it set up like that, you will have to do it the manual way, like I've been showing you with your paperwork, until you can get that set up, you know. And whenever you can, if you're a small business and you don't have it set up like that, just long as you running your end of day report, and then you keep that register receipt in every week's package. So if you ran that end of the day report on such and such, and it's in October, we are in October 2020, if you ran that end of the day report on Monday, you will put that report inside week 1. Okay, because you'll have 2 files that say week 1. Remember, we talk about inventory is done each week. You have a week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. And you will put that register tape into week 1. If you do it the next day, Tuesday, you will still put it in week 1. And you will keep putting your receipts in whatever week you are in that file. Then at the end of the week, when you do your inventory, then you could go back to your register receipt and see how much you sold of each item all week. Okay, and when you do an end of the week report, it's automatically going to show you that as well. But you do an end of the day report, and you do end of the week report, and at the end of the month, you do an end of the month report. Okay, so that's how companies know what they have sold, what items in their store they sold, because every time a cashier rings up that item, the computer have it inside of the computer memory. And then when you get ready to run an end of the day report, it will tell you everything that you sold for that day. Okay, so that's how that goes. Okay, now at the end of your inventory, let's say if you do inventory, let's say you do inventory at the end of the week. And at the end of the week, we do our inventory. And then you hit end of the week report on the register. And the register going to tell you everything you sold that week. Now, let's say if your inventory sheet, when you counted it, your inventory sheet says that you sold 5. Okay? And then when you say, it says you sold 5 milks for the week. Okay? This is at the end of the week. We did an end of the week report. Okay? So at the end of the week, if our inventory count sheet that we go around and we count everything that's in the store and everything, and then we see what was sold and you know, everything like that, and then we go to the register and we hit end of the week report, and then we go to the register and we put in the register, in our computer, what our count is. Okay? Now, if your inventory sheet say that you sold 5 milks, but your register receipt say you only sold 4 milks, it'll say sold for the week, milk 4. Now, your inventory count sheet say you sold 5, but that register tape receipt say you only sold 4 milks for the whole week. Now you missing 1 gallon of milk. Okay? Because you have to go by what that register say. Can't go by what your inventory paper say, because your inventory paper do say that you sold 5. But your register paper says, no, you only sold 4. So now you are missing 1 milk. Okay? So then that means that you would have to go back and recount your inventory to make sure that you didn't overlook a gallon of milk somewhere. You know, you'll go back, recount milk. You don't have to recount the whole inventory. You only go back and recount what is missing. Okay? Because when you finish your inventory and you go in that office or wherever your computer is at, you're going to put in your numbers of what your inventory count is. You know, you have 5 milks at the end of inventory. You're going to put 5 milks in the computer as this is our ending count. And you're going to put milk 5, right? And when you put milk 5, remember what I said earlier, that register always sends the information to the computer on what is being sold out there on that register. Okay? It's always going to kick that information straight back to that computer. Okay? So when you go to that computer and you put in what you have on your inventory sheet, I got 5 milks. or whatever, or you got whatever milks, and then the computer will say you sold 5, but then you will see on the side that the register say only sold 4. And most likely that's going to be in the red on your computer. It's going to show, it's going to give you a sign. It's going to have a negative by it, or it's going to turn a little red or turn a little pink or something like that. It's going to let you know that something is not right. You know, you think you got 5, but you really only sold, you say you have 5 milks. I'm sorry, y'all. It says that you sold 5 milks, but the register is saying that you sold only 4 milks. That's when the screen will turn a negative sign or turn red or turn pinkish looking. It's letting you know something is wrong here, you know. And that's when you have to go back and you would have to recount milk to see if your count is correct. And you going back to try to find that 1 gallon of milk that obviously is missing. Because if you go back and count and your count is right, you go back and you count that milk and say, yeah, that's how many milks I have. And you put it down there on the sheet and it's inside the computer correctly, and you still missing 1 milk because the register say you only sold 4. Okay? But your sheet saying you sold 5. Well, you can't go by your sheet. You really have to go by that register. Okay? So after you have went back around and you have counted that inventory, that milk over again for your inventory, and your count is still correct, and you're still missing that 1 milk, then the next thing you would have to do is check your invoice. You know, the invoice that milk comes off the truck, you'll have to check your invoice and make sure that all the milk came in, and all the milk came in, then that's correct. Okay? And then you would have to go into your computer, or you have to go to your accounts receivable to see did you record the milk correctly on your accounts receivable. And if you did record the milk correctly on your accounts receivable, then that's not the problem. Okay? So you went back and you counted milk. You counted correctly. That's not the problem. But you're still missing 1 milk. And then you go back and you check your invoice and your accounts receivable that you transferred on there to see if you made a number mistake or something like, or to see if the invoice, if the truck didn't bring it in, you would have a note on there, and maybe you just didn't record it, but it does say on the invoice that you didn't get 1 milk off this truck. Then you will know that, oh, okay, that's where the 1 milk is. We just didn't record it. And then you would have to record it accordingly. Okay? But if that's not the problem, then the next thing you would have to do is check your weigh sheet. You remember we talked about weigh sheet week 1 through 4, and those weeks there, we talked about a weigh sheet. And a weigh sheet is when something is spilled. A company will have a sheet, and it'll have at top weigh sheet. That means anything that was wasted, anything that was spilled, anything that was broken, anything that can't be used due to a damage inside that store, you put that item on that weigh sheet. And then, so maybe you'll go to the weigh sheet and see, did anybody bust a gallon of milk? Or did someone have to throw the gallon of milk away because it was expired? You would check that weigh sheet to see if that 1 gallon of milk is on that weigh sheet. If that 1 gallon of milk is not on that weigh sheet, that's not the problem. Okay? Then the next thing you would have to do is, you have to think, did that milk get rung up at the register? Okay? And so that means that sometimes you have dishonest people and you have honest people. And you might have a cashier who maybe her friend came through the line, had a lot of things, milk was one of them, and she just slipped the milk inside the bag without ringing it up. That could be where that milk went. Okay, so basically the milk was stolen through the cashier. Okay, so that's how companies know when something is missing, and then everything that we just said we do, we go back and recount. When you do things like this means you are trying to track the milk. You are troubleshooting the milk. You're trying to see where the milk is at. Okay? So once you go and you count, and your count is right, that's not the problem. Then you go and then you look at your weigh sheet to see if that was the problem. That wasn't the problem. Like we said, you go to your invoice to see if you recorded it on your accounts receivable correctly. Did you get that many in? Everything. If all that's correct, that's not the problem. Then the next thing you do is you wonder, was it rung up? Somebody stole it. It's missing. It's missing. Okay? So then that's when you have to say, well, wonder if somebody just slipped out the door with the milk. Okay? Did the cashier ring that milk up? Or did they slip that one to their friend or family members or whoever? Or did a customer come in there and they slipped the milk right out of the store and just nobody knew it? So either way those two go, it's still a theft problem. Okay? So then, that's what you have to think about. Do you have a theft problem? Because if everything else you checked and you did and everything in your store, and that milk you still can't find that 1 gallon of milk, then that's when you have to start thinking, do you have a theft problem? Do you have a theft problem in your inside, your employees, or do you have a theft problem with the customers? Okay? So if the milk doesn't show up, it's nowhere to be found, you have to take a loss with that milk. And we talked last week about taking a loss. Well, we talked about that, I think, in the review process. When we reviewed week 3, week 4, I talked about that, about the theft problem. You could have a theft problem and checking back and things like that. Okay, so what you would have to do now is you would have to just keep a close eye on milk. You would just have to, and some people say, oh, well, 1 milk, I don't have to watch 1 milk. Let me tell you, that's the reason why I was as good as I was with inventory. And I was training so many people, and I had the best stores that there was. I always stayed on top of inventory. I don't care if it was 1. Some people, you can't be in the mindset of, oh, it was only 1 milk. No, that's okay. No, because 1 milk will then turn in the next week to 4 milks. And then the next week it'll turn into a case of milks. And then the next week it'll turn into 3 cases of milks you're missing. You have to stop it right there when you missing 1 item. If you're missing 1 item, you track it, and you kind of be alert about that 1 item. And then you let your team or your employees, you have a meeting with them or however you want to do it, and you say, hey, when I did inventory, it shows that I'm missing 1 milk. You would have this meeting with cashiers. You would have this meeting with the whole staff, and you would say, I'm missing milk. And my inventory papers say, I'm missing 1 milk. I can't find it. I looked all over the store for it. It still hasn't shown up. And so I'm having a meeting to let you guys know that you have to ring up your milk. You address that to the cashiers. You have to ring up all milk. You have to ring up all items, okay? I need you to make sure you slow down. Maybe they going too fast. Maybe they going too fast and thought that they rung up the milk, and they didn't. It's not necessarily that they took it or stole it or slid it to somebody. They could be going so fast on the register to where the milk they thought they rung it up, but they didn't, and they dropped it in the bag, and now the milk is gone. But the inventory has shown that 1 gallon of milk is missing. Okay? So that's how you do that. You would have a meeting, and you would tell the cashiers, and you would tell the staff people, just in case it's a theft problem on the inside of the store. You would say, hey, I'm missing milk. Now, once you have this meeting and you tell your employees, hey, I'm missing milk, and hey, let's slow down on the register because maybe you're going too fast, and then you tell people, hey, just make sure y'all keep track of milk. Whichever employees are working in the milk department, you would have them to start looking in their department a little closer to make sure that nobody steals milk, okay? Or the milk doesn't come up missing from customers or employees, okay? But you have to think about it. If someone did take that milk, when you have a meeting and you tell people, hey, I was missing the milk, I don't know. The person who took it know they took it, and they sitting there wondering, oh man, how do they know I took that milk? Because they don't know about this inventory process. They don't understand the depths of the inventory process that shows us in our paperwork and in our computer, tells us that it's a milk missing somewhere. So when you bring that up inside of a meeting, employee meeting, or whatever you want, or cashier meeting, you can just have a cashier meeting and not a meeting with the whole store, or you can have a meeting with the whole store. In my case, when I was running inventory and I masters inventory and I'm running 10 and 12 stores, I always had the meeting with, sometimes in the department that I got a problem in, everybody in that department, we have a meeting. Or sometimes I would have a meeting with the whole store. Okay? But 9 times out of 10, if that milk was taken, the person who took the milk, when you mention it, then they would say, oh man, I wonder how they know I took that milk. I sure did take that milk. And you hoping they don't have you on camera taking that milk, because then you no longer have a job. Okay? So, or they'll write you up. Maybe they might let you slide with that 1 milk, and then maybe they just fire you for the 1 milk. We don't know. Maybe they'll just write you up about the milk and you have a write-up in your file, or maybe they will just terminate you. It's all of the decision is the company's. So that's how you track milk. Okay, and 9 times out of 10, like I said, if it was stolen, when you have that meeting, somebody in that meeting is going to realize they did steal that milk, and then they are going to bag off and say, oh man, shoot, they know I took that milk, I ain't finna do that no more, But the thing is, you bringing awareness to your people, to your employees, to your management team, to your whoever. You are bringing it to their attention that, hey, I know 1 milk was gone. And you take that 1 milk seriously as if it was 20 milks that was stolen, or 20 milks that is missing off your inventory. Because every time you miss an item, or your store has lost the item, you have to take a loss in money. You have to take a loss in profit. You have to take a loss in income. That company takes a loss. Okay? So that's why companies try to keep track of their inventory the best way they can. And they try to get the best people to manage inventory, because they are very on top of it, and they don't let too many things go missing a whole lot of times. Okay? So that's the purpose of, that's how you do and how you track inventory. Okay? So now that we got all of that out of the way, let's say that, well, let me touch base one more thing on this, because it says missing inventory will greatly impact the company's business, the cost of sales. I just said that when you are missing inventory, it really impacts the bottom line. It impacts the money. That means that if you paid $5 for milk, or if you paid $3 for milk, that $3 is gone. If you sell the milk for $4, you're trying to resell the milk to make up for your $3 that you spent. So if you're selling the milk for, say, $5 or something like that, you can't do that either, because the milk is gone. You can't make any profit off that milk. You can't make any money off that milk. It's just a loss all the way around. Then you got to scratch the milk off your inventory because you don't have it. You have to change it. You don't have it, you have to take a loss. And we're just talking about one milk. Just imagine when you have about 15 or 20 things missing at the end of the week after you do inventory, and you running around the store trying to find it, and you hoping you find it because you don't want to take a loss off of whatever it is that's missing. Some things cost $50 and it might be missing. That's $50 that you have just lost out your pocket. Okay, so you don't want to keep losing inventory and losing track. You come up with a game plan. You come up with some type of plan that you don't miss inventory, missing items. Okay, you make sure your staff know, your employees know, your management know. Everybody has to know that this has to stop. Okay, and if you break anything or spill anything or anything, something is damaged, you make sure you put it on the waste sheet so that you can account for whatever it is that's missing. Okay, so now let's explain. Let's say that our truck delivery now that we ordered last week is now at the door. Okay, and we're gonna go back there and we're gonna get our things that we ordered from the truck last week. And last week, we ordered from NJ Foods, and we also ordered from Vet Style. We ordered the jumpsuits, and then we ordered the house shoes. Those come from Vet Styles. And then we ordered our food, okay? So now let's say that the truck drivers are at the back door now with our order that we ordered last week. You go to the back door. You unlock the back door. You get all your items in from the truck that you ordered. And you always check the invoice and make sure everything that you ordered is coming inside of that store. Okay? And we're going to get into that a little bit more after week 8. Because I told you I'm going to tell you how to troubleshoot and execute inventory after week 8. But we'll get into all that. With your truck deliveries and how to make sure that they're not getting over on you too. Okay, so anyway, they are at the door, and we checking our invoices and making sure that everything we ordered is coming off the truck inside our store. We check it. Now, every time, like we order sweet potatoes, you look down at the sweet potatoes, and if all the sweet potatoes are there, then you just check that off on the invoice. And then you just check everything until everything on the invoice has arrived. Okay? So now, let's say NJ Foods bought in your delivery, and you ordered 9 sugars. Okay? You ordered 9 sugars, but only 8 came on the truck. Only 8. They only delivered 8 to you. So then you would look and you would say, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sugars. The invoice say I ordered 9. Where is the other one? And the truck order might, I don't know. I don't know where it's at or whatever. They might even go back inside their truck and see if they can find other sugar for you. If the other sugar is not on the truck, then they'll tell you, hey, I'm sorry. All they gave me was 8. I didn't know you ordered 9. The only thing they put on here is 8. And so you only have 8 sugars instead of 9 sugars. Okay, that's when you take your invoice, and let me show you, you mark that sugar off. You see how I did it? I marked that sugar off, and you will see sugar is right here. Okay, and sugar is $1.50. So what I did is I scratched, well, the whole total, if I would have got 9, it would have been $13. You see right there. Take a screenshot of this or whatever, because I'm not going to hold it up there too long. But you see, they only bought us 8 sugars, and that has 9 right there, right? So then what you would do was scratch out that 9. I just wanted to show you how you would do that. You would scratch out that 9, and you would put 8. And that's what I did. You see how I scratched out the 9, and then I put 8. And then I said minus $1.50, because to get 9 sugars is $13. And each sugar costs right here $1.50. So you would take $1.50 off of that $13. That will give you $11.50. Okay, then you would have to also deduct that from the bottom price. You would say, okay, the invoice was $205.02. Take away $1.50. Then that would be $203.52. You would circle it. You would have the truck driver initial over here. You would also initial. Then on your whole balance, this is when they add the tax, the shipment, and all that, your invoice was $245.02. Well, you take $1.50 off of that total number, and it's $243.52 instead of $245. Okay, then you would have the truck driver initial. Then you would initial. You would have the truck driver also sign it, and then you sign it. And then you give it to the truck driver, because you then have deducted that $1.50. You have deducted that $1.50 off of your invoice. Okay? Because you are not paying for some sugar that did not arrive to your store. Okay? So then when you get ready to put your invoice onto your accounts receivable, you have to make sure you don't put in 9 sugars, you put 8 sugars. Okay, when you get ready to put it on your accounts receivable, rather you putting it on accounts receivable on paper, or you putting it inside your accounts receivable inside of the computer, whichever one it is, you make sure that when you put it onto your accounts receivable, you only put 8, and then you put the correct amount, which would be $11.50 instead of $13, because you had to take $1.50 off. Okay, and then once you get through inputting that on your accounts receivable should have the same total with the invoice that you have, that you said this is what we're paying. We're not paying the other, we're paying this. Okay, so you just have to make sure that your invoice and your computer match up. We talked about that. You have to balance them both out, but you do have to change the price, because you didn't get 9 milks, you only got 8. Okay, so now then we checked the truck on Vet Styles, and everything on that truck delivery was okay. So you sign it, and then that's it. Now you know what we do next always. We transfer everything onto your accounts receivables. Okay, so everything you ordered, I'm going to show you everything you ordered so that you would already know what goes on your accounts receivable. Okay, so this is the whole sheet. This is the whole sheet. Okay, this is the whole sheet that you ordered from the food truck this week. Okay, and then you have your Vet Styles. This is what you ordered from them this week. Okay, and you ordered 10 jumpsuits, and you ordered 1 case, which is 10 of them, of house shoes, and then that total invoice was $80. Okay, and then when you get through with your tax and your shipment and all that, it total came up to $99. Okay, so that's what you got. Then you're going to put, of course, your invoices onto your accounts receivable sheets. Okay, and once you put it on your accounts receivable sheets, I'll show you that right quick. Put everything on the accounts receivable. Now, you see how we have it? This is your produce sheet, accounts receivable, and you got your cabbage and your lettuce bags. This is accounts receivable. Remember, we don't worry about the inventory part yet because we haven't counted inventory yet. We haven't did that. This is all accounts receivable. You gonna put everything in your store on accounts receivable. You didn't order any cabbage, so that stay at 0. Lettuce bags, you did order 12. That's $17.52. Sweet potatoes, you did order 8, and you paid $8. Carrots, you see, you didn't order any this week, so that stay at 0. Right? And then you'll see the next one says bananas. You didn't order any bananas this week, so that stay at 0. Okay? So, that's how you put your things on the accounts receivable. Okay? Then the next one is the butter packet. This is how the butter packets go. I'm just going to show you right quick how the accounts receivable for week 7, level 7 should look. This is the accounts receivable side. That's how it should look. Okay? And then your next accounts receivable is your food sheet. And then this is your food sheet. And that's your ranch dressing and your sugar. And that's how we do on accounts receivable. You record that. Okay? And then after that, you do have your beverage sheet. And your beverage sheet is your orange juice. This is week 7, level 7. And it's week 3 of October. Okay? So, that's your orange juice. You did order 8 at $12. That's what you put. And all this stuff you basically is putting inside the computer if that's what you have to do. And if you don't put it in a computer, and because that's not how that company is set up, they just use files, then this is how you do it file way. So you know how to do it both ways. Okay? And then the next sheet you have will be like your meat sheet. And your meat sheet is your ground beef. We ordered 3 ground beefs last week. And that's what came in off the truck. Ground beef, 3 today. And that's how you record it. And you paid $9 for it. But it goes into the meat category on your accounts receivables. Okay. And then your next one is your HBA sheet. And I hope you all taking a good screenshot of all this, because I'm just going to run through the inventory side when we start to count inventory. Okay? And then you had your accessory sheet. And that's with the purse. You ordered 4 purses. 4 purses came off the truck today. So you see that you do have 4, and you paid $16 for it. Okay, but you are putting all this on accounts receivables, so you know what came off the truck today and what you have in your store. Okay, and your chemical sheet is the same way. That's your bleach. Okay, and we did order 8 bleach. Okay, and then at $8. Okay, so you will put that all, and then just remember what we're doing here is we're basically copying our invoice that we got from them truck drivers, and we recording it onto accounts receivable. Okay? So that's how you do that. Then let's do the pet sheet. You have the pet sheet, and you did order dog food, and you ordered 12 of them, you see, because that's on the invoice. And it costs $60 for the dog food. So remember, everything that we are putting in the accounts receivable is what we just received from the truck. Okay? And then the black the black house shoes. I think we probably already did that one. I'm not for sure, but we'll do it again. And the black house shoes, you know, we ordered a case, which 10 comes in a case. And we paid $10 for it. Okay? So that's how you do your inventory accounts receivable. Everything that you got from the truck is what you record on your accounts receivables. Okay? So make sure that you know that, remember that, or whatever. Okay? Now, you putting everything on your accounts receivable. Now, you want to get ready and count inventory. Okay? So now what you would have to do is everything on your accounts receivable, you're going to transfer it over onto your inventory count sheet. Okay? So, your inventory count sheet, let me show you. And like I said, you would have to do this manually if your computer don't do it. But if your computer calculates it, when you put your invoice into the computer's accounts receivable, it would automatically add all this stuff up. Okay? Which is the easy way. You know how to do it the hard way. You know how to do it the easy way. So this is your inventory sheet. Okay? Now, this is everything that you sell in your store. It tells you what we had on hand for last week. These are the numbers. This is your ending count from last week. Remember we said the ending count the last week is always your beginning count for the new week. Okay? So the on hand is really your ending count from last week. Okay? And then the order received is what came off the truck. And where it has zeros, that means that didn't come off the truck this week. Okay? So this is what came off the truck. Then you have the spot say total on hand. That means from what you had left last week and from what came off the truck, you had 5 milks last week after you counted in your store. Then the truck just came and gave you 10. So altogether you have 15 milks in your store. Okay, so screenshot that so you will know what I'm talking about when I push on over. So right now, this is the total number on hands of items you have in your store. This is how many of each item you have in your store. Okay, so now that we know that, now let's go and let's count inventory. Okay, we're going to go around your store and count inventory. And when we go around your store and we count inventory, we put it in this spot. Okay, the ending count spot. So we're going to go around your store and we're going to count inventory now. And this is where whatever you count, the numbers go in the column of ending count. Okay, and now we're going to go around your store and we're going to count everything. And we're going to start off with the milk. You have 5 milks in your store. Sweet potatoes, you have 2 in your store. Sugar, you have 10. Ground beef, you have 6. Body wash, you have 5. Bleach, you have 1. Purse, you have 2. Dog food, you have 3 left in your store. Carrots, you have a 0.5 left in your store. That means the bag is half full. And in cabbage, You have 25 pounds left in your store, which means you took that case of cabbage, you put it on the scale, and the scale said 20 pounds, so you put 20 pounds as your end count. Then paper towels, you have 2 in your store. Bananas, you have 20 pounds. That means you took the case of bananas, you put it on the scale, and the scale says 20 pounds, so you will put 20 pounds on your end count, okay? Now, orange juice, you have 3 left in the store. Sour cream, you have 2 left in the store. Ranch, you have 4 left in the store. Lettuce bags, you have 2 left in the store. Butter packets, you have 24 left in your store. The jumpsuits, you have 5 left in your store. And the black house shoes, you have 4 left in your store, okay? Now, once you have put everything that you have in your store, you went around your store and you counted everything and you put it in the end count spot. Now, the total hand and end count. Now, total items sold. You're going to take whatever it is, your end count, away from your total on hand. So you had 15 and your end count is 5 on milk. You had 15 milks, your end count is 5. Then that means you sold 10. Okay? And then let's do the next one, sweet potatoes. You had 10. And then you counted, you only have 2 left in your store. So that means you sold 8. Okay? And so you would need to order 8 as well because your par level is 10. You always want to go get the amount that your par level said you need. Okay? So let's do sugar. Let's do one more, sugar. Total on hand of sugar was 14. When you counted inventory, you only got 10 left in the store. That means you sold 4. Okay? And that's how that goes. Alright? So now, let's take another good screenshot of it. But that's how it goes. Okay? Now, you're going to go all the way down. And it's going to tell you, your computer will tell you if you're putting your end count inside of the computer, it will tell you how much you sold. If you're doing it manually like us, then you know how much you sold. You know, it's just like milk. You had 15 at the beginning of the week. When you counted the store for inventory, you only had 5 left. That means you sold 10 milks. Okay? And you sold 10 milks. You'll see, you sold 10 milks. Now you need to order 10 because your par level for milk is 15. And remember, the par level is the number of that items that you need in that store at all times. Okay? So you already know what to order for milk because it says order 10. Because you have to. You only have 5 in the store and your par level is 15. So if you only have 5 in the store, then that means you need to order 10 milks. Okay? So, and you know how to do all that from the previous week we done. I'm not going to break all that down because at this point, week 7, level 7, you already know that I'm still going a little bit slow, but really I should be breezing through this because you could always refer back to the other videos, week 1 through 4, and it will tell you and break it down to you about the par levels and the amount sold and things like that. Okay? So now that you have finished counting inventory and it tells you what you need to order and all those things like that. Okay? Now, let me show you about paper towels. I just want to show you because we talked about this last week in week 6. Remember when we said if see right here, paper towels, right? It says you only have 2 in the store for paper towels. You only have 2 in the store, so you need to order 8. But the case comes in a 10. So you can't order 8. That's why I got it highlighted. You can't order 8. You have to order a whole case. Okay? We talked about that. Because paper towel comes in a case only. Okay? It comes in a case only. So if that case of paper towel, it comes 10 to a case. But you really don't need but 8. Well, you can't order 8. You just have to order a case, which is 10. So that means you'll order it and you'll have 2 more extra than you really need. But that's how you have to order it. Okay? So y'all know about that, and we went through that. Okay, so now that we did that, let's say that after we counted our inventory, let's say after we counted our inventory, we know what we sold, we know what we need to order now, all that good stuff, right? Now, let's say that once we did that, we realized that sweet potatoes, something is wrong with sweet potatoes, okay? We realize something's wrong, sweet potatoes is off. We go to the register, we went to the register end of the week, and we got the end of the week report for from the register on everything that was sold for that week. Everything looks good. Everything that our inventory sheet say we sold, the register say we sold that exact same thing. Except for sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes is off on the register sheet compared to the inventory sheet. Okay? Now, let's say that the register is saying that those sweet potatoes that you had 8, let's say, let's say that, let's do this right here. Okay. Let's say that the inventory say we sold 9 sweet potatoes. Yeah. Let's say, because that's what it says right here. Sweet potatoes. Let's say that our inventory sheet say we sold 8 potatoes. Okay? Let's say our inventory count sheet say we sold 8 potatoes. But the register receipt say we only sold 6. Okay? That means how many is missing, y'all? If the inventory sheet say we sold 8 potatoes, but the register receipts say we only sold 6 potatoes, how many is missing? 2. Okay? Because our inventory thing sheet say that we sold 8 bags of potatoes. The register tape is saying no, you only sold 6 bags of potatoes. So that means 2 bags of potatoes are missing. So what do you have to do? Remember what we said in this video a little while ago. You have to go back, you have to count to see if the potatoes, did you miscount potatoes? If that's not the case, then what you got to do next? Do anybody know? Correct. You got to go back to your invoice. You go back to your invoice to see, did you record potatoes correctly? We record potatoes correctly because the only thing that we was missing from the invoice was that sugar. Remember? And we deducted that, took that off, and we put the sugar in the computer and on the accounts receivable sheet right. So we don't have no problem with sugar. It's the sweet potatoes. It's saying, our inventory count is saying we sold 8. The register tape is saying no, you sold 6. So 2 bags of sweet potatoes is missing. Okay? So after you check your invoice, and that's not the problem, you check your, what else comes next? Your weight sheet, correct. You got to go to your weight sheet, see if 2 bags of sweet potatoes is on the weight sheet. It's not on the weight sheet. Then what you do next, you have to check, you done recount it, you check your in, that's not the problem. You check the invoice, that's not the problem. You check your weight sheet, that's not the problem. So then the next thing you would have to do is take a loss. You would have to take a loss because you can't find those 2 bags of potatoes, okay? So you have to take a loss and deduct it from your dollar received and your profit. And 2 bags of potatoes, if you would have sold them, no, potatoes is $5 a piece. So you have to deduct $10 because 2 of them is missing. So you'll have to take $10 off of your accounts receivable on sweet potatoes. And let me show you how you do that. Okay? So that's sweet potatoes. You just have to take a loss of $10. Okay? And I'm going to show you how you do that, because this is how it is. After, we counted inventory, we transfer the inventory count sheet onto your inventory sheet with the accounts receivables. But this is how we did it. Okay? You'll see down here where it says total spent. We always do that. Total spent, $25.52. Total received, $100.01.50. Then you would have to deduct. You see, you're going to have to deduct that $10 from your original total. Okay? You're going to have to deduct that $10 from your produce. Because after you put in your inventory and everything like that, let me show you. Because I think I probably lost some of you. Okay. Now, you see, accounts receivable, total spent for the week. We spent $25.52 on produce for the week. That's how much money we spent. Total receive is what we got from our customers. You look over here, and then we received $101.50. Okay. Now, you have to deduct that $10 from that $101.50. Okay, because where it says we received $101.50, we still have to take the $10 off from the sweet potatoes, which give us $65.98 is what we bought in. Okay, that's what we really bought in, because you have to deduct them $10 from your profits and from your income, because they are lost. You don't have it. So let me break this down for you. We spent $25.52 on produce items for that week. Okay? And sweet potato happened to be one of our produce items. Okay? Now, the customers was buying stuff from us all week, and they bought $101.50 worth of produce from us. Okay? So, to find out what our profit is, we take $101.50 minus the $25 that we spent. That will give us a profit of $75.98. Okay? So we made a profit off of produce. You see at the bottom, we made a profit of produce of $75.98. But now we got to take the $10 off
because we lost 2 bags of sweet potatoes. So our profit is not $75.98 because we got a minus $10. Okay? And then when we minus the $10, it turns into $65.98. So that $65.98 is our real profit because we lost $10. Because we lost 2 bags of sweet potatoes. Okay? So that's how you do that. Okay? Now, I just wanted to show you that part. And like you said, I said you can always stop, rewind, do all that good stuff, and just make sure that you have a good understanding of it, okay? So, now that we know that we had a loss in sweet potatoes, we deducted it from that and all that, and you know that you always transfer your inventory count sheet onto your accounts receivable inventory sheet, okay? And that's this right here. I'm going to give you an example. Now that we have counted inventory on our inventory sheet, we just transfer it over here. And that would tell us our retail price for butter package. We sell them for $1.50. Our end count was 24. That's how much butter packets are left in the store after we counted inventory, 24. We sold 17 of them, and the dollar amount is $25.50. If we sold 17 of them, you say 17 times $1.50 is $25.50, okay? And that's how you know the dollar amount that you sold, okay? Our par level is 24. So we still got 24 in our store, so it's no need to order any because we already have 24 in our store. Okay, so take a screenshot of that so that you would know. Go over here and study it, and you know how we did it. Okay, and then for the dairy, this is how you find out the profit. Total spent is you'll add these numbers here. And that will give you $42 is what we spent on dairy products this week. Then, total received, you'll add this column up because this is how much money our customers spent with us this week in our dairy department. Okay? And that's $97.50. Okay? And then, to find out what our profit was off of dairy, it's $55.50. Because $97.50 minus $42 that we spent is $55.50. Okay? So that's how you do all your sheets and all of them together. And you should know by now, I don't have to go through each sheet because you already know how to do that and what sheets are, okay? So that's all we have to do on that. Now all we have to do is make a truck order, and you know our inventory count sheet tells us what all we have to order. So let's go ahead on and order our truck for next week, and we are done. Okay? So you will see on the inventory count sheet, it says order needed. And everything over here is what we need to order. And we know how we know what we need to order by what we sold. What's left in our store. If we only have 2 milks left in our store, and say the par level is like 10, then you know you have to order 8. Let's say sweet potatoes. Say we have 6 left in our store, but our par level say 10. Well, then that means we need to order 4. Okay? So that's how you know what you need to order, and that's how the order needed is filled in. Okay, so now let's just go ahead on and we call the vet style, and we order things for the truck. So we pick up the phone now, you call vet style, and you say, hey, I need 1 case of jumpsuits. Well, you need 2 cases of jumpsuits. You need, let me see, you need to order 5. Yeah. So we'll order a case of jumpsuits, then we'll order a case of black house shoes, okay? Because you need to order those 2 from Vet Styles. We order that, then you hang up, you call your NJ Food Department, and then you tell them, hey, I need 10 milks, and you know, you give them the UPC number or whatever, and then you say, I need 10 milks, I need 8 sweet potatoes, I need 5 sugars, and then I need 4 ground beefs, I need 5 body wash, I need 9 bleach, I need 8 purse, I need 12 dog food, and I don't need any sugar. You don't need any sugar, no cabbage, no bananas. Then you'll say paper towel. I need 1 case of paper towels. And then you'll say sour cream. I need 1 case of sour cream, which is 4 come in a case. Then you'll say ranch dressing. I need 2 cases of ranch dressing. Lettuce bags. You tell them you need 2 cases of lettuce bags. Then you tell them that's it. Okay, so now they say, okay, we got you. They got your order in, and now they will be preparing your order so that next week when we do week 8, level 8, then the truck will be arriving with everything we just ordered. Okay, and then we'll go accordingly. Okay, so now after we have ordered the truck, now it's time to know how much money you bought in for the week and how much money you spent for the week and what was lost for the week and what's your profit for the week. Okay, now take a screenshot of this. Okay, and this is your profit sheet that you do every week after inventory. It says week dollar spent. So all the trucks all week long, that we ordered, everything that we ordered all week long, we spent $287.52. Okay? And then you will see how much did we sell. You know, how much did our customers buy from us this week? It says $826. Now you see week profit loss. We lost $10 because of those 2 bags of sweet potatoes this week. So we lost $10 this week because of those bags of sweet potatoes. And then our weekly profit, you'll take the $826, subtract it by the money that you spent, and then you got to subtract the $10, and then our profit would be right here, $538.48. That's your profit, okay, for the week. So week 3, you made $538.48 in profit, which is good. Okay, so that's how you do your profit sheet. To know each week after inventory, you will have an area where it says weekly money spent, how much you spent all week, how much you bought in all week. You subtract the 2, and whatever is left, that's your profit. And then if you have lost anything, like we lost those $10, whatever amount of money you lost, then you have to deduct it from your profit. And then that will be the profit. Okay, so that's why you try not to lose anything and have any loss on anything. okay? Because we don't like to lose money. We like to make money, not lose money, okay? So that's all on that. Just make sure that you study everything that we did today in week 7, level 7. Make sure you study everything, get everything together, and that way next week will be week 8, level 8. Okay? And that gets into a lot of other things as well. So make sure that you review this video and have a good understanding so next week you're not kind of confused at all. And if you are a little confused now, you need to go all the way back to week 1, level 1, and work your way all the way up to week 7, level 7. Okay? So everybody have a great day. Make sure you click like and subscribe. Everybody take care of yourself, and I will see you next week, week 8, level 8. So y'all have a great day. Bye-bye.